Little Red Riding Hood lived on the outskirts of a forest with her mum and her dad. Through the forest, quite a long way, lived her nana, her granny. And every week, Little Red Riding Hood would take cakes and apples and anything nice that was around in a basket, and she would set off through the forest and go and visit her granny. And on this particular day, she set off, and her mum said to her, "Little Red Riding Hood, don't stop and talk to anybody in the wood. The wood is full of dangerous creatures and it might be dangerous." "I won't," said Little Red Riding Hood, but she wasn't really listening. And she set off through the wood, and soon enough, a big wolf came near her, and he stopped, and he did a wolfish sort of smile, and he said, "Where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood?" And she said, "Oh, I'm going to see my granny. I'm taking her the cakes and the apples and some nice fruit." And the wolf said, "Wow, that's very nice of you." And he sloped off, and Little Red Riding Hood went on walking through the forest past the flowers and the trees. But the wolf ran really fast, and wolves can run pretty fast. The wolf ran really fast, and he got to the granny's house, and he burst through the door, and with one gulp, he swallowed the granny whole. And then he put on the granny's nightie, and he put on the granny's bonnet, and he got into the granny's bed, and he was all ready for Little Red Riding Hood when she came, knocked on the door, and came in. "Hello, Granny," she said. "I've brought you some cake and some apples." "That's nice of you," growled the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood came and sat on the bed. "Why, Granny," she said, "what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with, my dear," said the wolf, trying to do an imitation of the granny's voice. "Oh, Granny," said Little Red Riding Hood, "what big eyes you have." "All the better to see you with," said the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood was getting a bit worried. "Oh, Granny," she said, "what big teeth you have." And the wolf said, "All the better to eat you with." And he leapt out of bed, and Little Red Riding Hood was terrified. She screamed, "Ah!" And at that exact moment, a woodcutter who was passing the hut ran inside, and seeing that the wolf was about to eat Little Red Riding Hood, he took his axe and he chopped off the wolf's head. And out of the wolf's tummy came the granny, all in one piece. "Oh!" she said, and she hugged Little Red Riding Hood, and they made tea for the woodcutter, and after that Little Red Riding Hood went home. And when she went to her granny's after that, she never spoke to anybody in the forest as she went. She knew that there were wolves.